This is the Local Service Business Podcast brought to you by Launch27, the online booking form and service management tool that powers thousands of local service businesses around the world. Every week, we bring you a new episode with a different Launch27 user to discuss wins, challenges, and to impart wisdom from our journey in business to our listeners. We're glad you're here to join us. Today, we are talking with Nancy Evans, and I'm going to go ahead and let Nancy introduce herself and her business and give us a little background. So would you like to go ahead and get started, Nancy?
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you, Dara. Just to introduce myself quickly, I am a huge Launch27 fan. And I actually started my residential house cleaning business at this point, it's been almost 2 years ago. And before that, I used to work for multiple Fortune 500 and a Fortune 50 company. And I ran stores for Apple and for Target, and just kind of decided to take the leap. And after reading some things that Rowan had put out, I started my own residential cleaning company.
Okay, very cool. So how has it been different going from the corporate, environment to your own company?
Oh my goodness. It is it's been quite an adventure. It's one of those things that you read about and you're like, okay, I got this. This is going to be easy. And then you kind of start off and you start to realize start to uncover, and then you realize that some things get a little harder and some things are a little easier. But yeah, like I said, I started off with Launch27 right off the bat. So I use that as my booking platform, my scheduling platform, pretty much everything. And I formed my business right around that. And, the biggest difference switching from a corporate job, I had a consistent schedule, consistent routine. And then switching to my own thing and being my own boss, it was just, wow. I really had to create like a new routine for myself and really kind of set goals.
Definitely. What made you decide to do that? Other than kind of being inspired by the post, was there anything else that made you kind of take off and just say, okay, this is something I can do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it actually happened one night. I was reading, I was just kind of perusing the internet on my phone,
Mhm.
and I was looking on Reddit, and I came across Rohan's post about, how he had a full-time job and he had started a cleaning company and kind of how he made it work. And it really got me fired up and it inspired me. And the biggest thing that I was looking for with my business is I just wanted better work-life balance.
Uh-huh.
I was always working. I pretty much worked 60 plus hours a week. I was always on call, in charge of a lot of people, and it was a lot of stress. So whenever I read that, it got me so excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I want in my life. I want to be able to run something that I can really put almost on autopilot so that I can work remotely. And, it's just a lot more flexibility from the work-life balance standpoint.
And that's the name of your company, right?
Yes, it is. So it happens to be my company name, my mission statement, pretty much my North Star. So everything I do, running the business works towards having great work-life balance.
I love that. And so when you started, did you quit your job immediately, or at what point did you quit your job after you started the business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of people looking at it now are like, wow, that's so great. But when I started the business, I had so much confidence in myself that I was going to make it work that I put in my 2 weeks with Apple. And I basically took a little bit of time off. I had a little bit of money saved, and after that month was over, I dove right in, and I, started, like I said, with Launch27, formed everything around that booking platform, and then just took off from there.
So it was make it work time, right?
It was make it happen. And I still think that's part of what has made me successful, is because I had that like no excuses, this has got to work mentality.
It's so interesting. I find that when you don't have anything distracting you and when you have to make it work, that's like when things actually happen. Like when you have a little bit of cushion and you're kind of, things don't work, I can continue my day job. It's harder to get that success that you see when it's just like, okay, this is my only option. We got to figure this out.
Yeah, it's so true. And I'll tell you what, there's so many people out there thinking about doing it. It's not always easy, right? Like I had so many times where I probably should have just like stepped back and like, actually I did. I was like, should I keep doing this? Is this going to work? And if I didn't have, if I had other options or if I already had another job, like I don't think I would have, stayed invested and stayed, on course. So it was really important that this was my main mission, and that I got over those humps. And that's what I usually tell people, that, you know what, this is going to be okay. You can get over the hump, you can get past it, and it's going to be okay. But yeah, it definitely took some a lot of patience and perseverance.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, everybody I've talked to, we all have that kind of moment where we're like, yeah, I might, but like if you just face it head on, then you get kind of over that hump and it's like, okay, I got through that. And then everything else kind of seems like, okay, I can do this too. So yeah, I definitely understand. With
Absolutely.
that being said, what has been your biggest struggle in the business so far?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I mean, initially, right, the first thing that happens is, okay, you got this cleaning company, you got the shelf formed, you got the booking form, you've got a business. It's finding that first client. So that's not even the biggest, struggle. Like, right, I finally got my first client. They slowly started coming in, and then I built my reputation and everything. The biggest focus for me and the biggest challenge, probably the toughest, was finding a great team of people, to actually help me clean, to make sure that we continued to have amazing results, obviously continued clients and just people I could really rely on.
Yeah, that's always a struggle. And so how did you kind of find those teams? And did you initially start out in the field just to kind of get people, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, so I really wanted to bootstrap it, and I had done a lot of work with some business advisors from the Small Business Administration and everything. And they said, you know what, Nancy, if this is really what you want to do, you're used to the corporate world, you need to get dirty, like get your hands in there and learn the business. So then that way you're able to better support the team, you're better to make decisions. Someone can't come to you and say, oh, this is going to, take this amount of time. He said, you got to know your business. So I ended up, I started in the beginning, I inserted myself, and, as we booked jobs, I jumped in there myself, and I had a family member actually, kind of be my floater as needed. And then I started reaching out to start bringing on some contractors with me. Now, in that initial experience, I really didn't have like my hiring. I do have an HR background, but like I didn't have like an interview guide officially set up. I didn't have like my whole process of what that looked like. So I knew, like, once I had had a couple bad experiences with people, I knew I had to revisit that. So that being kind of my biggest challenge, I put a lot of time and focus in my whole hiring process.
And
So
can you tell us a little bit, like, what are the kind of keystones of your hiring practice? Because I know this is something people struggle with.
yeah, so totally. And I will tell you, I am absolutely in love. Like our hiring process is so much better now. So what I do is, one, I actually created a mission statement for who we hire. So right, so we have a mission statement for our business. It's let us clean your home so you can enjoy the free time you work so hard for. That's our mission statement to our clients. To the people that we bring on and the contractors we hire, we focus on fun, fitness, and flexibility.
Mhm.
And obviously flexibility with your schedule.
Mhm.
So every single ad we put out there, we post jobs on Facebook, we put them on mom groups, fitness groups, we put it in libraries, churches, on the yard sale sites. And every single thing that we post out there, we say, you know what, we want fun people, drama free, who want to work hard, burn some calories, and have a super flexible schedule.
Mhm.
And that's like what we shifted our marketing to for our hiring to. And what we started doing is we started to see military wives, stay-at-home moms. We started to see people, of that nature, who are looking for just that, right? They want to burn some calories. They don't have, they don't really want to go to the gym, but they know they can do it here. I mean, I actually started posting some stories. Like, I personally had lost 12 pounds when I first started cleaning. One of the other girls that work for me lost 20 pounds. Another lady is in her 50s. She lost 12 pounds, and she's back in her jeans from like high school. So
It's
we,
work. I actually, like you're saying,
yeah.
I actually went out on a few jobs with my cleaners as well, just to kind of see what they did and understand the process and things. And I didn't necessarily, would go alongside them and see what, how the whole process was. And by the end of the day, I was like, and I would just go to one house. I was like, I don't know how you can do two houses in a day. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will tell you that's the other part of it, right? We're super transparent because we actually joked that me and a couple of the other girls, we call it the 3-month hump.
Mhm.
So everyone that I talk to on the phone, I'm like, okay, do you have cleaning experience? I get it. You've cleaned your house before, but you're on your feet sometimes 3 to 4 hours, and then you take a break and then you're at your next house. But like, I'm very transparent. And I say, look, you're going to start doing this and you'll be so jazzed up and you'll want every single job you can take, which is what happens with everyone in my experience. And then they'll hit that second month and they'll go, oh my goodness, this is so much work. I'm really tired.
Mhm.
So I always tell them, like, let's take it slow. We'll slowly start to build up your client base. So I always start them out with like 1 to 2 jobs a week.
Mhm.
And then we slowly build up so that they have a consistent 1 job a week.
Mhm.
And then, I start to go from there. And I always, unless it's a really small house, I always do the two team member approach. So I
Mhm.
always put 2 contractors on 1 job. And like I said before, I'm very transparent about it. I say, guys, this is hard work, but just keep me updated. Make sure you let me know, like if the job's more than expected, and that kind of stuff. And the other thing is hiring good people. I always make sure that like team is first,
Mhm.
right? Like before I even pay myself, I make sure that it's not a job that I wouldn't do myself,
Uh-huh.
for the amount that I'm paying them.
Mhm.
And I do the percentage type of pay. So I'm very transparent about how much they get. I explain to them everything that I'm helping them do, which is go out, find these jobs for them, book them, take care of the payment, handle all the taxes and the, crazy business,
Mhm.
and they get to just go in and have that stress-free cleaning experience and make some money. So that's worked out really well for us.
Yeah, I really like that. And I've never thought of it in that manner that, just talking to them about what you do, what your part of the business and your kind of deal in the business is for them, because I just think about it as I get the job, I tell them what to do, but having that transparency and saying, okay, I understand I'm not out in the field with you, but I am doing this, this, and this back here so that you can just go in and do your job to the best of your ability. I really like that thought process.
Yeah, and I was so insecure, I'll tell you, when I first started. I was so insecure because I was like, okay, well, if I give them this percentage of the job and then I take, is that really fair? And blah, blah, blah. And I started thinking about it and I'm like, this is a sweet deal for someone who wants to pick up extra money, right? They can get their schedule a week ahead of time, which I always send it out. They can pick up as many jobs as many as they want or as few as they want. It's so flexible. I pay daily, so I actually PayPal the team daily.
Nice.
So it's just like such a great situation for them. And here I am on the back end handling every customer experience and then giving them feedback.
Mhm.
So it really, like, as I've progressed, I've gained so much more confidence in knowing that this is pretty awesome. And, with the majority of people who work for me, a few months in, I just, hey, is everybody okay? How's everything going? And they're like, yeah, we want more jobs. Like, this is awesome. So it's been really good.
That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I struggle the most, and like you said, I'm very still probably to this day very insecure when it comes to dealing with the teams and making them. I don't want them to think that I'm just sitting here. And I've had some teams say to me, "Oh, you just sit there behind the desk and you don't know how it is." So I understand when you say that, and maybe it's because I'm not transparent enough. Maybe I do need to be communicating more and opening myself up so that they can see what goes on instead of
Yeah.
me just kind of doling out jobs.
Yeah, I even actually, it's so funny because I did this one time I was doing an interview, and I always do whenever I have a lady that does my first, like, my phone screening interviews.
Uh-huh.
They'll, and then if they're a good candidate, she'll actually set me up with an in-person interview, which she also does in persons as well, but I'll still do a few of them. And when I sit down with the cleaner, they go through, and on our independent contractor agreement, it specifically says what they're doing, to clean. What does a good cleaning look like, right? So it actually says right there, sinks are polished and shiny, everything looks good. It's pretty much everything we put out there to our client. And then under that, it's the pay structure. So you're going to be paid this amount of percent, and this is, how much obviously we keep. And right then and there, I fully explain everything. So there's no weirdness behind the scenes, anything. It's okay, here's how much you're going to be paid. I get to handle all the, the business expenses, the back end. I handle going out and getting the clients. If there's an issue with the client, I'm the one who handles and mitigates risk and deals with all that stuff. And you just get to go and you get to do whatever. So I just get it out there before they even, officially get the position, just so I'm so transparent and I open that door with them so they can kind of see what's going on.
I really, really like that. I'm going to implement that. We're going through a spell where we need to hire more people. And I think that that would really be helpful in terms of kind of getting people up to speed and onboarding and making them feel comfortable with the process. And we actually recently just switched to percentage as well. So it's definitely something I need to address.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. And someone actually gave me the advice. I think is one of my business advisors actually said, if you really wanted to explain it to people, she said you can take like a whole handful of pennies and you can say, all right, here's how many pennies go towards the business expenses, right? So it's the website cost, the cost of finding clients and blah, blah. So they can visually see it. So even if you wanted to do like a video or post something so people can understand, I think even like clients don't always understand,
Yeah.
like, why are you charging this much for cleaning? And it's like, well, guess what? We're a company and we really like to pay our people awesome,
Mhm.
but there are expenses that come with running a business.
Yep. I
Yeah.
agree with that. I like that. And I do an onboarding video. So I think I might add that. And like you said, a visual explanation of what goes where and what's allocated to what might be really, really helpful. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, cool. So where are you in terms of revenue, if you don't mind discussing? How have you grown over the past year and a half or so?
Yeah. So, I mean, over the past year and a half, so we obviously started at zero, but we now are over 110,000 a year in sales.
Nice.
And next year, I mean, my goal is, like you had just said, you're really focused on hiring, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm actually posting hiring goals of at least 2 people per week for the next month and a half. And I want to build our team up, and I really want to focus on doubling. So I'm in aggressive mode right now.
Yeah, I got to get back into that mode right now. I'm kind of in sit back and just, I've burnt out and I definitely need to get back into that aggressive mode. So where do you see yourself, would you say, in 5 years with the business?
Yeah, so I actually, we've been looking at expanding. So I'm looking at potentially opening up another cleaning business in the Philadelphia area.
Oh, nice.
I've had a lot of requests as well in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So I've actually had to turn down multiple clients because we don't have a team that far out yet. So I've actually started saving them into a file, and I said, hey, when we're out that way, we're going to reach back out to you.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're totally looking on expanding and kind of covering more ground. But as of right now, I think being in the Princeton, New Jersey area, there's so many more clients that we still haven't tapped yet.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm from Philadelphia, so I know the Philadelphia Cherry Hill area very well. And I think, it would be a cool city to see something like this. And there's not too many. I mean, there's a lot of Launch27 companies, in a lot of cities, but I haven't seen that many in Philadelphia. So it could be a great
Yeah.
market for you. So hey, who knows? What was I about to ask? Oh, how did the majority of your how do you get the majority of your clients? Where do you see them coming from?
Yeah, so when I first started, I went nuts and I sent out like 1,000 postcards. That flopped. I probably got like one client.
Mhm.
So that didn't really work too well for me. So we switched to primarily posting on like social media, and we started doing Facebook ads. And I have a girl that helps me. I mean, she's my right hand. She basically posts in all the mom groups, all the Facebook groups, yard sale groups that are on Facebook. And we get primarily almost all our clients from there.
Nice.
I did get a ton in the beginning from Thumbtack.
Mhm.
So I will say, like right out of the gate, Thumbtack was really helpful as well.
Yeah, we I think Thumbtack's kind of on its decline for a lot of people, but
Hmm.
we were in that position as well where we got a lot of great clients from Thumbtack, and now we're exploring some other options. And I like that the garage sale groups and local Facebook groups work for you. I've heard a number of people say that really works. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
So, what is one tip, and I ask everyone this to kind of finish off the podcast, what's one tip would you have for someone who's just starting out?
I would say honestly, well, one, if you don't have Launch 27, get it. um, and then I would say, just the other tip is do not lose focus and don't get frustrated if you don't get like a million clients in the first month. It is almost like a snowball rolling down a hill.
Mhm.
Okay. As it starts to roll, it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you need to be patient because it's not going to happen all at once. But when you start getting those clients start telling other people, those other people tell other people, and then it will start to build. So, always just remember to be patient with that in the beginning and then just always be hiring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, what's one tip for someone who is looking to scale? And like you said, you're in aggressive mode right now. I need to be in aggressive mode. So, what's one tip you would have for me?
I would say set weekly goals. Break everything down. So I work backwards, all right, so in how many months, where I want to be. So like I said, I want to double. So if I need to double, my revenue, how many bookings is that going to be?
Mhm.
Okay. I figured that out. Now, how many bookings a month? How many bookings a week? How many people do I have that can actually do those jobs? And then I slowly start to set hiring goals along with those sales goals. So, how many people am I going to need to be able to handle the amount of jobs? So, just totally work backwards. Where do you want to get to? And then build from there. But don't go so aggressive that you start booking like a million jobs you can't even cover. Just work backwards and slowly start to match your hiring with your sale, with the amount of sales and bookings that you get.
Very cool. And then one tip for someone who is about to give up, because all of us have moments.
It is completely normal.
Mhm.
Okay. When you have those days, and I had one of it, those days, probably about 5 months into my experience, I wasn't making my normal paycheck. I went from my job to, having kind of an unexpected income. I will tell you, it will all work out. It will all be okay. You just have to stay strong. You have to stay focused, because I will tell, I mean, you'll have so many bills that will magically appear, whether it's taxes, whether it's, registration fees, whether it's, something you might have to cover or pay for. Just back away from the situation. Don't let it get you incredibly frustrated because no matter how bad it gets, it will always get better. And if you keep powering through, it's going to be totally worth it. I mean, I'm where I started and where I am now. I mean, I have the best work life balance I've ever had in my whole life. I've spent weeks visiting family members, and staying at their house and running my business from their house. And that's what I'm doing now. Actually, I'm at my mom's house right now, and hanging out with her and running the business on the side. So it's totally worth it. You just got to stay focused and you got to keep going.
I love it. That's the beauty of what we do. It's hard, but it's also rewarding, and it's like literally the name of your company. It's work life. So I love that. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I thank you so much, Nancy, for talking with us. I think a lot of what you said is, both practical things that we can implement, but also just the encouragement I think a lot of people need, that are maybe at that beginning point, and probably just like cleaners, entrepreneurs you get started and it's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'm going to make $1 million. And you get to that 2 month, period where it gets shaky. Your first set of cleaners have quit, you
Yeah.
got your first bad review, and you've got good ones too, but that first bad one, you could get 10 great reviews and that first bad one hits you like a ton of bricks. So we all need to hear, that it's just possible to keep going, keep growing, and then, be at the point where you are a year and a half to 2 years in. So thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And, if anybody wants to reach out and kind of get some encouragement, are you open to them, sending you a message on Facebook?
Yeah, I actually have a website. So if anyone needs help, I also do coaching. I do career coaching, and I also do startup coaching as well. So my website is www.nancyevanscoach.com, and that's spelled NANCYEV as in van, ANS, coach.com. And yeah, you can reach out, and I'm always available. Also, I know Launch 27 has the Facebook site or the group, Launch 27 Domination.
Mhm.
Domination. I love to help fellow Launch 27ers. So anytime you have a question, just feel free to message me.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to head over to your site right now then.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Awesome. Thank you.